Hey folks, Brian Zach here. Welcome back to my channel. This video is the latest episode of the Snare Spotlight video series that I'm running on the channel, and so I hope you'll dig into this. Today, on this episode, I'm featuring the Tama SLP G Bubinga snare drum. SLP stands for Sound Lab Project. I own quite a few of the SLP line drums. I did the first video on this series. I did the SLP dry aluminum snare drum. So I have this Bubinga, and I also have a walnut, which I will do a future video on. But today we're working on the Bubinga. And just some quick details about the drum, and then we'll get into the playing, and I'll tune it up, tune it down, tune it up in the middle, and leave it wide open, and we'll hear it with some different mutes and that sort of thing, and just kind of check out the sound and what it's capable of. But for now, let's talk about some of the details of this drum. It's a 14 by 6. So 14 diameter, 6 inches deep. The shell is a 10 millimeter, 12 ply, all Bubinga shell, with the outer ply being quilted Bubinga. And I'll just show you that here on the other camera real quick. And you see the badge there too. And so yeah, you see what a nice finish that is, and it's really sort of a pretty color, and it goes well with, especially if you have any kind of wood grain drum set. It looks real nice with that, and it's got we'll talk about the hardware. It's got black nickel hardware on it, the hoops and the lugs. So the hoops are 2.3 millimeter steel mighty hoops that Tama makes, top and bottom. 10 lugs that are in the black nickel. These are the Star Classic style lugs. And once again, I'll show you that. All right, and the snare strainer is what they call the linear drive strainer and butt plate. And both the strainer side and the butt plate side have an adjustment for the snare tension, which is really, really nice. It's nice having the ability to adjust the snare tension on either side of the drum to make it nice and even. And I really, really, really like that. It's a really nice feature that Tama does with these drums. All of the SLPs do not have that necessarily. I know that when I featured the dry aluminum, that drum has a different style strainer, and it does not have a dual-sided adjustable snare response there. So just depends on the drum and the make and the model and stuff like that. The snares themselves are the 20-strand Star Classic carbon steel snare wires. They're very bright sounding. They're quite loud and bright, but normally I would change out the snare wires on a different drum. I would change them out with a set of Canopus snare wires, because those are the best snare wires in the business. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But the thing about the SLP series that Tama has put out is they've done all the research already to determine what are the best accoutrements for this particular drum to get the desired effect that drum is trying to achieve. So they've already done research on what hoops, what lugs, what snare strainer, what snare wires. It all comes together to create a certain combination that they think is the best thing for the desired sound that they're going for. And so with that in mind, I normally don't change anything out with any of the SLP snare drums that I own, because again, it's already pretty much right where you want it. Now, I mean, I am sort of curious. I wonder what it would sound like if I swapped out a pair of Canopus snare wires, maybe the vintage non-plated, but I digress. That's for another video. Right now, this drum is set up with all of the things that you would buy normally straight from the dealer or the store or whatever from Tama. Now, with that in mind, I don't think that I'm not even sure if they make this drum anymore, this particular model, the SLP Bubinga. I'm not sure. I forgot to look that up before I started this video. But in any case, they're definitely out on the used market. I've seen them from time to time on different sites where drums are being sold. So before we get into the playing, I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on my experience with this drum. The first thing is, first of all, it's a heavy drum. It's 12 plies of Bubinga. Bubinga is a heavy wood. If you've ever played a Bubinga kit before, they're not a whole lot of fun to move around. So this drum is quite heavy as compared to most snare drums. It's also quite a loud drum. I typically reserve this drum for louder venues, outdoor venues, places in bands where I need to really project and have a nice loud backbeat. And if I'm playing like in a hall or some sort of very reverby style room where there's a ton of reflections, this would not be a good drum for that, unless you really dampened it down. It's a bright, loud drum. But that said, let's talk a little bit about the tone of the drum, because it is bright with a loud crack, but it also retains this low-end thump that comes along with that crack. So it's really quite nice. The microphones really like it. When you put your in-ears in and the drum is mic'd up, you can really hear that low end. Even with the drum cranked up pretty good, there's still like it retains this low end frequency that's very pleasing and very there's beef to it, but there's also a crack, if that makes any sense. On the Tama website, they describe it as extraordinarily punchy with a large helping of low end, and I think that's very accurate. Right now, this snare drum is set up with Aquarian drum heads, top and bottom. The top head is a high energy snare head. That's a 10 mil single ply with a thin layer of proprietary power dot material bonded to the entire surface of the head. Additionally, in the center there is another power dot, smaller one, and so you're getting a real powerful sound with very high durability. I have to say, this snare drum head is like bulletproof. I had this snare drum, same model head on one of my other drums for like a couple years, and the thing, like, I swear, like, I couldn't break it if I tried. Not that I would try, but just, you can pound the heck out of this thing and it will take a beating, no problem, and look at you and smile and say, what else you got? So very, very durable snare head, but still very, very sensitive and really just has a great tone. I really recommend these high energy Aquarian snare drum heads if you're looking for a head that you really want to be able to count on, that won't break on you on a gig or session, but still has like a really, really nice tone to it. So check that out. And on the bottom, I have the classic clear snare side head. So there's the top head, high energy. And on the bottom, and you'll see I have a little Aquarian T-tab that is stuck onto the top head as well. And that T-tap just sort of tames down any extra ringiness. Just kind of kind of attenuates the head a little bit. So let's hear this drum and see what we got here. All right, it's tuned like about a pretty high, like a medium high. So you see, you hear how articulate and crisp the snare is. All those little doubles. I'll put the mute on. This is the snare weight, the leather snare weight that snare weight makes. I think it's the M80 snare weight. It's like a leather strap, and it clips onto the hoop here. And lastly, I have here a studio ring that I made out of some other heads. And I'll put that on, and you'll hear it'll be even deader now. So there you go. 3 different tonalities, just using different mutes and stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tune it all the way down, like down quite a bit, and you're going to hear the tone of it when it's tuned down. So we're just guessing here, but let's check this out now. I won't do that. All right, let's hear it with the mute. That's with the snare weight on. And lastly, with the studio ring. Now, right now, I'm hitting the drum without hitting the rim. But if I hit the rim, and then in the center without the rim. Man, it sounds great. Sounds like a really nice drum. I could go down further. Let's see what it's like when we go down a little bit further. Now, I imagine I'm going to have to use the mute because the overtones are going to be crazy. Here it is with the studio ring. Really nice. Okay, so let's go back up now. I'm going to tune it like way up, higher than it even was before when I first started playing it. All right. Hoo-ah. Dang, that thing is articulate. Hoo-ah! And with the mute, last but not least. So there you go. There's the different demonstration of the Tama SLP G Bubinga snare drum. Not sure if they make these anymore, but if you can find it on the used market, that's the way to go, I'd say. I personally love this drum, and kind of like a one of your best bang for your buck kind of deals. This drum is really versatile. I'm not sure if I would use it on a jazz gig because it's just a bit loud and bright for working with like a small acoustic group in a smaller room. But you could make it work for sure, especially if you muted it down a bit and were just kind of careful. But yeah, it's a great sounding drum. You know, something I didn't do is just give you a rim click. So there you go. If anybody has any questions or anything else they want to add to this, maybe if you own a Bubinga, what do you think of your drum? Or maybe you own another Bubinga snare, wondering if you like it. I think Tama does make a Star Bubinga in their Star line. I've not ever played on one of those, so I don't know really how it differs in sound or appearance, but I really like this drum, the Tama SLP G Bubinga snare drum. Yeah, guys, so there you have it. Thanks for joining me here, and don't forget, you can sign up for my Patreon and patreon.com/BrianZach. Lots of content there, drum instructionals and career advice and so on and so forth. And if you want to take lessons with me, you can, if you're in Nashville, we can do it here in person, or if you're not in Nashville, we can do it online through FaceTime or whatever your preferred video format is. And last but not least, if you want to hire me for recording of any kind, drum recording, I'm available for that as well. So I always have a kit here set up in the studio, all mic'd up and ready to record at a given notice. So yeah, with that said, thanks again for tuning in, and stay tuned, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and so that you don't miss the next Snare Spotlight video. And if you have a request for a specific snare drum that you want me to cover next in the next Snare Spotlight video, then write that down in a comment as well. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off for now. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next video.